here is a testament to the growing interest and curiosity in the realm of electroculture. First and foremost, I'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude for taking the time out of your busy schedules and your weekends. It speaks volumes about your dedication to learning and growth. So today we're going to embark on this journey to demystify electroculture, showcase its potential, and show you actionable techniques that you can implement in your gardens and your farms. Okay, next slide. Oh, here we are. So for this quick reminder, we're going to be talking here for about 1 to 2 hours, more on the 2-hour front. And if you feel like we missed out on any of the details, a replay will be available for a limited time afterwards. Again, copying what Andrea just said, make sure you turn off your cameras and mute your audio. And let's jump on in. Okay, so in this presentation, we've broken this into 6 different parts. And I'm going to be speaking, this is David Wexler, speaking on antenna amplification. And Andrea is going to be talking about coil catalysts. Ray is going to be talking about pyramid power. And Francesco is going to be talking about water wonders. If you're excited as we are about today's journey, we urge you to stay with us until the finale. We'll dive deeper into expanded Q&A session, and we'll have some bonus segments as well. So,
hey guys, can I just jump in, Dave? Sorry.
Yeah, jump on in.
I've got a pop-up window on my my screen sharing. Is it showing up there, or do you have a full view of the slide?
Full view.
Full view. Okay, because there's a pop-up that's come up and I can't get rid of it, so only I've got it.
It's fine. Thank you, Ray.
I'll unmute.
Move on.
Okay, so what this slide is about is in the wake of 2023's surge in electroculture's popularity, there were a deluge of theories and information that swept over the scene. And the purpose of this is to also help you with discerning fact from fiction. So we've assembled a team of the 4 leading electroculture experts. We're drawing on an experience of over 2 decades to cut through the clutter and to give you clarity and give you the most effective, time-tested techniques in the beginning electroculture. And this is what we're not going to be doing here. We're not going to be doing anything about sucking electricity from trees or electrifying trees with lightning bolts. We're going to talk about the real deal. Next slide. Okay, so here are your teachers. There's myself, Ray Lee Bacon, Andrea Donnelly, and Francesco Picardi. We're going to talk more about them in a minute. So in brief, electroculture is all about the combination of electricity or electromagnetic energies along with plant life. And it is a powerful technique that's been around for centuries. Some may say even millennia, if you go back to the ancients. And it is a revolutionary set of techniques that has far-reaching implications. As for myself, I'm David Wexler. I've been at ElectroCulture for about 12 years now. I started off focusing on DC and pulsed electrical stimulation of plants. As you can see here, I've designed my own hardware for stimulating plants in different ways. This was at a cannabis farm at a consultancy operation I had. And it's a great pleasure of mine to work with plants in various ways. I also invent other types of products. Here on the left is a ElectroCulture atmospheric antenna I've created, and I also dabble in pyramid energy as well. Ray, why don't you talk about yourself here?
Okay, let me just pull up my video here. Okay, there I am. Okay, hi everyone. I'm partners with David on the ElectroCulture community on Facebook, and in my day-to-day, I operate a homestead. I used to have a farm, and I work as a garden designer, integrating these techniques into my work. And I've done a lot of experimentation over the years. My favorite project that I worked on, my main flagship project, was the Galaxy Garden project here. And this was a garden that was about 120, 150 different edible plant species. done in a permaculture, ecological design manner. And this central picture here, this is fascinating. This is a Sicilian zucchini, which came out to be 1.50 meters in length. And I attribute this a lot to ElectroCulture, particularly pre-charging with paramagnetic basalt, which I'll go into in my part of the presentation later on.
Andrea?
All right, here I am. Thank you. So this is Andrea. I'm from Italy, living in the north of the country, between Florence and Bologna. I started to practice ElectroCulture 11 years ago, saving a maple tree. And I was so fascinating that I started to make my own permaculture food forest with ElectroCulture since the beginning. And I did over 10,000 experiments along the way. Now I'm working on this topic. That's my work. And I've done more than 400 projects around Europe mainly. And this is interesting to see, like in 1922, so 200 years ago, Christoph Loh was taking picture of big spinach. And now we repeated 100 years after. And even this year, we have bigger and bigger spinach for super Popeye. These are wonderful, not only tasty, a lot of minerals inside. We will see that one of the benefits of ElectroCulture is to increase the nutrition factor, resilience, size, etc. This is another customer. Lucrezia took training with me, and then we did together some design in the orchard. And this is a mint 1.58 meters height in May. And that was used only 3 techniques, just to give you an idea. The geotherapy, so is the usage of the stones, especially paramagnetic stones in the soil, and spiral antenna and menhir, that is called even power tower by our friends Alana Moore, etc. The mint was ending 1.75 meters at the end of the season. It was a wonderful mint, especially to make incredible mojito in Tuscany. This is in Tuscany. So let's move to Francesco. Hello, Francesco.
Eccomi qua. Hello, everyone. I'm Francesco. I'm here with the guys as I started my journey following interest I developed for the charged water. And I started this adventure about 6 years ago. And then at one point in my research, I needed some help, and that is where Andrea showed up with his amazing knowledge, and he helped me a lot. So since then, I start to get involved in also in ElectroCulture projects. And my specialty is water, is this amazing, magnificent bin, and basically during the course. This is a beginner course. We're going to teach you how to the basic level of charging water, which is help to increase a lot the health and of the plants. This is now obviously is not going to be this subject is not stopping only on the plants. It can be brought also in animals and humans. This is mainly what I am going to do during the course.
Thank you very much, Francesco, and everyone else. The purpose of this slide is we want to talk about challenges, and everyone experiences challenges in their gardening at different times, whether it's from pests or bugs, but there are also challenges that occur within the ElectroCulture world. You know, there's lots of misinformation out there. There's lots of know-how involved and technique. So if you have any challenges in particular that you'd like to share, please drop some notes in the chat window, and we'd be happy to address them as we press forward. I'd also like to give a timeline of modern electroculture. As you can see here, there's many, many incidents of research that's been taking place over a long period of time. It actually goes back further in time, back to the ancient times. But in terms of a modern electroculture, the first experiment was done in the late 1700s. And I think it's very interesting to note that our forefather in the United States here, Benjamin Franklin, was also involved in the electroculture movement. You can also see that there's been a number of fits and spurts from electroculture movement, where there have been times of great activity, followed by times of no activity. And you can see here, this is an example of a chart showing some of the idea of electroculture's popularity over time. You know, we had some peak in the 1930s, and things fell down significantly after then. And now we've just entered in 2023, another huge peak. And in this chart here, this is our Facebook group, the Energetic Agriculture Group. It's now since been renamed. And even though we had record numbers of people joining us, over 150,000 people, shortly after that, in say the July timeframe, we ended up getting banned by Facebook. There's all sorts of fact-checking and misinformation and conspiracy that we end up getting banned in some degree, and we're working on getting past that now. But this is part of the issue with electroculture. There's a lot of sacred knowledge that some say that others, those in charge, don't want to have released or out into the open. And so we see this as a group effort that we expect everyone to help out and to share the knowledge and to help promote this movement, because it is powerful and helpful to all. This is an example that's seen all over the internet. This is some of the examples from the French scientist, Justin Christoflo. You can see him on the top left. And that's one of his inventions, the Christoflo antenna that collects atmospheric electricity, picks up magnetic field forces. It uses other forms of electricity also, like falling raindrops, charged raindrops hitting the plate on top. And it uses all these different types of electricity to improve the growth of these plants and make them grow massively. Continuing on, in our modern day, we have the old way of Christoflo, and then now we have Richard Humbert, who has been using similar types of electroculture techniques today for creating just as massive cabbages and other types of fruits. Hey, Ray, I'm going to jump off for a few moments. Do you mind picking up?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ray, you have a big monster in your hand. What was that?
Well, usually when carrots fork in the garden, it's a tragedy. But in this case, each one of the branching forks was as large as a usual carrot.
Wow.
So this is attributed to using paramagnetic basalt and other techniques. Andrea, do you want to speak on this giant?
Oh, sure. That's Maddie. It's a friend from France. And they usually do competition on very big stuff. And this is one Halloween surprise, 876 kilos, winner of the prize. And every year they are winning with bigger and bigger stuff, just charging the seeds on pyramids. This is an example of incredible results. And on the...
It is incredible.
Yeah, really big. On the right, we have our friend Alana Moore from Australia, now living in Ireland. She's doing great. This is a fantastic cabbage. And in this experience, for instance, she were using paramagnetic rocks in the soil, the power tower, or menhir or Irish tower, and the connection with the spirits. Alana, famous.
She's big on nature spirits.
Exactly. She's famous for the sensitive permaculture, Stone Age farming book, and a lot of documentaries explaining the power of the alternative solution, including the connection with the spirits.
Which is anybody who's familiar with Findhorn is very similar in that regard.
Absolutely. Findhorn is an example. We have in Mexico similar things with Jose, and we have other story with ElectroCulture that are so similar. So we are connected with nature. Again, friends from France. We have on the right, we have Loic Echeberry with a salad more than 1 kilo. In the center, we have Richard Humbert, that he's keeping a salad 1 kilo, 0.3. And again, it's not only bigger, it's healthy, it's plenty of mineral, it's plenty of nutraceuticals.
That's important.
Exactly.
Looking at conventional methods of growing that use a nitrogen-based fertilizers is you can get large crop yields, but it's mainly water and salt and less mineral density. So in this case, you're getting larger yields, but more cells as well.
Yeah.
So therefore more minerals.
Yeah, sure. And so you can eat less. And finally, on the right, we have my garden dandelion leaves in ElectroCulture. This is
I hear some fireworks going on there, Andrea. Is that? Oh, that must be Francesco.
Sorry, Francesco, I cut your audio because we are exploding like these plants.
You're using it for special effects or something.
And another funny thing that when we take the picture of our products in ElectroCulture, there is more light, like a fireworks. So this dandelion is growing in my garden. I have every season, I have a different surprise, and this was more than 50. This year I had 55. Normally is 25, 30, like the small one next to
centimeters.
Yeah,
of growth.
Exactly. So we can do 2-3 times bigger. All right.
So can I speak, Andrea, to a couple of these points?
Absolutely.
So what's happening with ElectroCulture? What are the mechanisms involved? I'm just going to touch on this very superficially. But the biggest thing that we're seeing with ElectroCulture is it's stimulating life, right? We're seeing enhanced mobility of nutrients in the soil. We're seeing a higher replication of microbes. And many of us who use organic methods know that microbial life in the soil is one of the most important factors. And ElectroCulture is able to stimulate all of that life to replicate faster and increase the nutrient uptake that plants are receiving on behalf of life. And plants themselves, they're replicating faster as well. They're growing taller, and we see that in many experiments. But what's happening there is their cells, they're not elongating, they're replicating, and you're getting more and more cells, and they're stretching upwards and getting more synthesis of nutrients in the form of vitamins, as well as plant hormones that make it more healthy and resilient against disease. Here is a chart that David had put together. Unfortunately, David had to step out. He has a family emergency that came up in the last few hours, and that's very unfortunate. He was really excited to be here. But this particular graph here was all of his work. He documented research that he has done over the years from different studies and different sources, hundreds of documents to give these results in an easy to digest table, which demonstrates that ElectroCulture works on a variety of crops and is increasing the yield, not just down here at the base 50%, but in some cases higher than 100% increases in crop growth, which is phenomenal. And thanks, David, for that hard work. The whole premise of ElectroCulture and utilizing it in combination with biological methods of growing better crops in your gardens, on your homestead, or in your farm is that we can move away from toxic inputs. We can make our environment more resilient, more adapted to fluctuations in temperature, in variables in rainfall, et cetera, So, and be able to have higher production with less input costs and in time, higher nutrient value as well, which is something a lot of us are into, given the low quality of food now. So we all want to be a part of this movement of bringing food back locally. And many of you likely work either in your gardens or in farms, and are able to be intimately involved in this process. ElectroCulture is one tool in the toolkit of many that you can utilize, but for us, it's one of the most exciting, because what we're about to share in our 4-part series here are techniques and tips that are very hard to come by, and we've been able to bring it together in ideally something that's digestible and is going to be you're going to be able to execute on right away and see similar results. Now, we encourage everybody in this moment just to take a couple minutes. We're not going to be going longer than 5 minutes. Just a couple minutes if you need to stretch, if you have to pee, have a drink. You know, this isn't the halfway mark. We're 30 minutes in, but it's a chance that if you don't have a notepad as well, to get one and make yourself ready. What I suggest is anybody who has chosen to stay, Andrea, are there any comments yet in the chat feed?
Yeah, there are many, so I can get through. For instance, Noura asking for ElectroCulture is applied and effective on micro. So when you had the slide explaining that we impact the soil fertility and we impact life, we can say absolutely yes.
Absolutely.
It's very important to have live soil. In general, we have seen that ElectroCulture is work best with a living soil. Okay, if we have conventional soil where has been used chemical for many years, we need a transition. We need to regenerate the soil with the stones and a lot of microbial stuff or manure,
extracts, and
effective microorganisms, fermented, or we need to add life in the soil to increase the effect of ElectroCulture. And this is one of very important topic we will touch again.
And on that note of the microbial life, one thing that I've seen good results with is integrating biochar into the soil matrix. And it's not just acting as a hotel for microbes to live in and inhabit. It's not just holding on to nutrients. It's also allowing for more conductivity in the soil. And electrical conductivity is one of the most important factors when it comes to ElectroCulture, hence ElectroCulture. So that's one thing that can stack really well.
Absolutely. We have chef using ElectroCulture for food fermentation. We have also making mother pasta or pizza. We did a lot of experiment even in the kitchen, not only in the garden. And that's fun because there are incredible results and taste that everybody can experiment in the house.
Yeah, and kids too. Kids love it. I have 2 young kids, 8 years old, 4 years old. My 8-year-old, he grew up with all my tinkering, and he loves making experiments. It's hilarious.
All right, fantastic.
We got 1 more minute. We'll move on. But Andrea, is there another comment?
Sure. I see that somebody was asking more info about Alana Moore. Maybe if you want to add something, you met her recently in my
She
place.
stayed in my home on a couple of occasions. And yeah, she is a wonderful person. She's extremely humble. She is a pioneer who, in Australia, where she originally came from, she presently lives in Ireland. This woman has been the pioneer for sensitive permaculture. She was close friends with Jeff Lawton as well as Bill Mollison, permaculture pioneers. And she was not well respected. Her methods were not well respected within the broader permaculture community. And yet she persevered and she charted her own course in an era where none of this stuff was well known as it's becoming now. So big kudos to Alana Moore. And Andrea, you have some video series of Alana's as well that we can send out at a later point in an email to attendees here.
Alana would be great if we promote her job, we share more. And she found
She
also,
deserves it big
yeah,
time.
she found also the radiesthetic association and rhabdomancy association in the New South Wales in Australia. So she
So
combined.
for those, sorry, that this is referring to dowsing, working with dowsing rods, pendulums, other
Exactly.
techniques. Yeah.
So she combined the earth energy, sky energy with the permaculture, and that was fantastic. I really was in love about this approach. That's why I work a lot with her. Even recently, we had the consultancy together in Switzerland.
Well, and we've got one more minute. Francesco, do you want to make a comment? Because Alana Moore actually brought you into this whole world very much. And we don't usually speak on the nature spirits. It's not something we integrate a lot into the masterclass, but we've got 30 seconds. Can you tell us something here, Francesco?
Yes, absolutely. I went to once I started to do my courses and classes with Andrea, I crossed this course about geomantic, which I was a bit not sure in the beginning, but then I went down to Italy, I met Alana, and they teach us few things, and I think has been one of the most incredible experience of my life, and it's the way she taught us how to literally communicate to those spirits, the devas, how they are called, and or maybe who doesn't know that we can call them fairies. And it is unbelievable, and it's amazing, not because only you live it is really like a fairy tale story, but you actually can get a proper relationship with those beings, and they actually help you sorting out problem in your farm, in your land, so you can actually establish a proper real cooperation like we do between humans. And I'm doing this now for a while, and there's Alana is definitely one of the little person. It really make massive changes in my life, in the way to look at life.
Well, it's wonderful that David, you pop back in here. I did mention that you do have a family emergency on, so you're getting phone calls coming in. You're with us, so I'm glad you made it back. It leads us your perfect timing to be in for your portion here of the spiral antennas. And David, being that you're an engineer, this is also well suited for those in the audience now who are less inclined about nature spirits. You can speak more about some of the science behind one of the entry-level techniques. I'll turn off I'll mute myself.
Okay, so now we're going to jump into the 4 fundamental areas of ElectroCulture 101, and let's dive in. Okay, so the first technique we're going to talk about here is spiral antennas. And next slide. First, I'd like to talk briefly about the basics of what's going on here. So it's not anything magic that's going on, but these spiral antennas are just that. They're antennas, right? And so in this example here that you see on screen, this is what a classical dipole antenna looks like. And the spiral antennas work in the same way. They pick up electromagnetic radio waves. They pick them up from all different directions because they're circular in shape. And so you don't have to worry about any directionality. Any direction that the radio waves come in, they're going to hit that antenna, and they're going to take the electromagnetic energies, and they're going to it's going to convert it into tiny amounts of electricity. They're going to get routed into the soil. And the key thing is, once the electricity gets into the soil, it's going to activate not only the plant itself, but also all of the beneficial bacteria that's within it. And so one of the things that Andrea and all of us like to tout is that how important it is to have solid living soil filled with microbes, because that's how you get the most beneficial effects from ElectroCulture. Absolutely. On this slide here, you see some examples of various types of spiral antennas that people make. In the most simplest way of making these antennas is by taking a wire of any kind and wrapping it around a stick. And in doing so, you could have some of the amazing effects that we spoke about earlier. Here are more examples. I thought this was a very, very interesting use case where people were taking branches off of trees, seemingly dead limbs or live limbs, and they were just wrapping them with these copper wires. And again, these could be any type of wires. And what's interesting is these cuttings that they took off of these plants, they start to sprout off of their off of their budding sites from the addition of these pieces of copper. It's absolutely amazing that it accelerates the growth of just these cuttings by themselves. Over here, you could see some additional examples. There's a little micro experiment on the left where you could see that the plant in the middle is doing quite well compared to the two other plants next to it. And on the right, you could see some enhanced greenery from the use of these plants. On the upper part, you see lighter green leaves, and on the lower part, you see darker greens. And in my years of experimentation, I've seen lots of this effect going on, where you have this changing of pigmentation, where the plants become especially dark, and it helps them convert the light that much more efficiently. In this example here, we have one of the founders, or the founder of the spiral electroculture movement, Pierluigi Igina, and he's known for this spiral antenna, the Fibonacci spiral antenna. And as you could see, it is great at producing enormous leaves and a massive growth using the same principles that I talked about earlier, taking electromagnetic waves coming in from any different angle or polarization and putting the electricity into the ground. And it works to amazing effects. One very interesting use case that I have heard about recently is there's this one guy here who hooked up this antenna to a mushroom log, and he was able to get the mushrooms to sprout much faster. I've never seen this before. In my years of research of getting into this sort of thing, I thought that the only approaches came out of Japan, where they were using extremely high voltage, 200,000 volts, to create the same effect. And here, anyone could do this with just a scrap piece of wire. Here are other types of examples. I planted this raised bed for over a decade and never had these types of results so quickly. This is a perfect testimonial for how easy it is to use these spiral antennas and ElectroCulture in general to have amazing effects very, very quickly. As you can see here, Ray is showing us how when you use different types of metal, copper and aluminum wire, that you have these massive changes. The plant on the right in that picture is, 3 times larger than what was there before. It also could be shown that these ElectroCulture antennas don't even need to be in contact with the soil. As the electromagnetic waves start moving within these metallic substances, metallic materials, the oscillations within the metal itself will cause the plants next to them to grow faster. And that's it for the spiral antennas. Are there any questions in the comments that we could address?
Okay, there is a question from Nura. Is there any particular method of wrapping for different parts of the world, north to south? Can the copper wire be oxidized?
So this has been a very controversial topic online, and there are many theories on it.
Controversial question.
What's that?
It's the first question is the most controversial question, of course. Well done, Andrea.
Absolutely, Nura made the question. I'm expressing. So please, I answer through the chat that you have to try and you have to see what happens. Okay, even plant by plant, because every plant is different. But please, Dave, continue your answer.
That's the exact thing I was going to say. Everything matters with ElectroCulture on a plant by plant basis. Even one's different strains of the same plants can behave differently. And with regards to oxidization, it happens. So when the wires get oxidized, less currents flow through. But it's so you have to experiment, you know, with these things over time. Maintenance may be needed, or different types of wires for long-term effects. So what I found is that I tend to use what's called titanium wires for a lot of my DC electroculture experiments, because they don't corrode as much as some of the other materials.
Good.
So again, your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Well, and Andrea, you've got a golden pyramid that you have on top of your head, don't you, over there?
Yes, but I have antenna in my garden since 2011, still working, even if they are
Okay, there you go.
oxide. And
Yeah.
below a tree, there's asparagus 1.85 meters. It's still working, even with oxide on top.
And that's the amazing thing about electroculture, is that you need the tiniest amounts of electricity for this thing to work. So even with a tiny amount of electricity that these antennas produce and going through the oxidation, it still works. So it's really an amazing technology that's available to everyone.
Absolutely. Another question from Rosie: can you use electric fence wire?
So yeah, you can use
Aluminum.
any type of wire, brass, iron, galvanized iron, all sorts of wires can be used. And to what Andrea was saying before, you just experiment, see what works best.
Exactly. Gold, you can use copper, titanium. Okay, is an open world. That's why we love it, because we are children in the backyard, in the playground.
Yes.
But I would suggest a caution, though, is that using aluminum that is in the case of an electric fence wire, which is untreated. I don't know if you've ever run aluminum wire in long electric fence lines, but it leaves the aluminum on your hands, which is absorbable through the skin as well. And it's also, it can contaminate the soil in large amounts. So you have to use it with sparingly and caution. Coated aluminum can help prevent that.
Yeah, it's very good advice. Shall we move on to the next section?
Absolutely. Let's go on. After spiral, we have Lakosky coils. All right. So very easy. You can start with a simple coil of copper like this. This is a kind of bracelet, or just a cable, an electric cable. And you can apply, like in the picture, elevated in the middle of the stem of the trunk, or you can put it bottom. What is important, like in the vase, you stay with the opening of the ring in the north of the compass. That's very important. And the energy will be concentrated internally. The cosmic waves are coming during the day and during the night, and they will increase the energy of the plant, of everything is living in the middle. So this is the theory by Lakosky. I suggest you can have a look at the books he wrote. There are some free PDF available, like maybe we can share it. The Secret of Life is one of the first I suggest to start. Then you can apply with some inclination, or you can put the ring on the earth, on the soil, at the bottom of the plant, next to the trunk, like in the middle. Or you can move up and stay in the middle of the trunk with other sticks that are keeping the Lakosky coil in the right position. In the Lakosky experiment, the coil was with an inclination of 32 degrees, and the coil was, let's say, crossed. You see, this is a copper in the picture, and he started to make experiment with geranium and cancer injection. So he had multiple plants like control, and plants with the ring of copper. That plant survived with the cancer injection. All the other plants were died. And after the removal of the cancer, the plant was growing beautifully, bigger and bigger. So Lakosky started to work with human after the plant experimentation. And this experiment where did, I mean, he was driving the experimentation in France, in Paris. Then he was sharing the knowledge and the device, and we had a lot of testimonial all over the world, including in Italy. There are testimonials from academy, from university, from doctors, and they try not only on plants, they try on animals, on fox, on birds, on the other silk, very different application. Here we can see on the left Lakosky with certain oscillator that he was making, mainly in copper. He was creating copper devices. And he tested a lot of metals as well, with bad result, and other with very good result, especially copper. This is why we use copper and aluminum or iron. Here you can see some tomato plants. On the left, it's the control with no device. On the right, we have a couple of rings at the base of the tomato, and you can easily see the difference. The plants are growing bigger, stronger, and even the taste of the tomato will be different. So we can move on. You can apply the Lakosky ring also for propagation. So these are wood cutting in water, and you can add also the spiral. You can combine the spiral inside the water and the Lakosky ring outside the bottle or even inside, and this will accelerate the rooting process, even very low temperature. We had experiment with rooting at 5 degrees, 6 degrees, and we had increasing the rooting by 3 times. So if you want to propagate your plants in your garden, maybe you want to propagate lavender or whatever, sage, aromatic plants, medicinal plants, or cutting, I suggest you to use this methodology and to test also colors. Blue or red are the most effective in the experimentation. All right, so these are more pictures. On the right, you see the cancer in the plants after the injection, after a few weeks, days. And finally, the plants after several days, when the plant survives, you can see the ring in the bottom. You can see the ring around the plants. That is the survived plants, and is still a great testimonial that you can easily apply and make it in your home. How you can do it? You can see the picture on the left. You can start with a ring of aluminum or a ring of copper. And then I suggest to work with the spiral. The spiral coil is more powerful than a single cable. So a combination, especially of metals, plus and minus, aluminum is plus, copper is minus, creates more energy. So just to recap, on the right, you see a wrong application, because if you look at the compass, the north, it's on the right. So again, the ring must be always oriented to the north of the compass. So this case is not a very good installation. We need to turn a little bit the ring in order to be aligned with the magnetic field. On the left, I have summarized 4 types of Lakosky ring in order of power, so you can make even experiment on the same plants to see the difference. Like the number 1 is just a cable containing copper inside, is an electric cable. You put the opening in the north, and this is a level 1 of Lakosky ring. Number two is a cable with the copper outside. So we remove the plastic. And this is another effect. It will be more powerful. Then we move to the ring, including the spiral. Okay, we have the copper inside that is removed, and then we have the spiral of aluminum. So we have the combination of two metals that is increasing again the effect. And finally, we have a last version that you can make that is iron, like galvanized and copper, and a magnet. Okay, you can orientate the ring in this way, north, and the magnet, the ferrite magnet, is north aligned, and this will increase again and again the stimulation of the plants. So you can play very easily with different technique. And again, remember the colors are a frequency, so they will create multiple effect. Like this is a combination of copper and multiple colors of aluminum. Okay, so let's move. If you have any question, if you have any curiosity, I'm available. I haven't seen any chat at the moment. No question. So I was a wonderful teacher.
Yeah, you covered it all in less than 10 minutes. I don't know how you manage. I guess years of experience, Andrea.
Yeah, 5 years of teaching online, thousand of people. Of course, if you have question, we can go. Or well, let's move in the next session. Okay.
Okay, and consider that at the finish we do have a question and answer segment, and that will be mics unmuted. And I do want to say we will be giving priority to a few people who made donations, and their names will be listed at that point. But
Okay.
throughout the presentation,
Thank
comment
you.
feed is open.
There are a couple of questions now from Rob.
Good.
Does the ring overlap? Okay, in the Lakosky experiment, if you see the book, the ring overlap like this, and the overlap is north direction. It works very well like this, but it works also open like this. I prefer the Lakosky way that is overlapped, but it works even in that way. Okay, just try, make your experiment, and share the results in the Facebook group.
Good.
All right. Thank you. You're welcome,
Thanks,
Rob.
Andrea. Okay, so I'm now at my part, which is wonderful. I've been waiting for this moment for a while.
Okay, let's
Pyramid
move
power.
in Egypt. Let's move in Egypt.
Yeah, busts out the gold period. You got to put it on your head, though, you know.
All right.
That's one of the neat things, though, actually, is that this topic is considered to be very esoteric. It's not well received in every community. And there's been a lot of scrutiny and a lot of naysayers. However, the realm of pyramid power and its use on plants has been well documented. There are scientific journals. There's coverage from Russia to the Ukraine, all the way to Japan, Korea, etc. And I will send some of these documents out later on in an email at some point here. But what I want to go into today is the relationship that pyramid power has on plant growth. Now, the ultimate question that comes through, though, is how does it work? And, you know, the truth is I could speak about this for 2 hours. I won't here. I have to be succinct, or I'm going to get the cane pulling me away. There's a lot of debate as to how they work and why they work. I can attest that they do work. I can say my favorite is the relationship that it has with geometry. And when we go into, in a moment, into the Great Pyramids of Giza, when we go into Nubian pyramids in Upper Egypt, which is present-day Sudan, we go into pyramids of the Ukraine and Russia from the researcher Golod. One of the things that are there it is, there we go, Golad's pyramid and Nubian all together there, Andrea, well done.
Yes.
They have very different geometry. You can see that, right? Very different geometry, but within their geometry, they have encoded mathematical constants that are present within the universe that are meta patterns in the way that life evolves, the way that life interacts, and the novelty of life itself. So it's very fascinating. You can see this here in this image here. This is the diameter of the Earth with the slope angle of the Great Pyramids of Giza, with the diagonal angle here reaching up. If you were to take the moon and place it in contact with the Earth, what do you see? The tip reaches the center of the moon. From center to center, proportions. Why is that? Well, this angle here has a connection to do with the Fibonacci sequence, which is ever present in the way life manifests. Whereas on the side here, this is a pyramid of the researcher Golod, where the Fibonacci sequence is expressed in a different manner. It's done in spheres, concentric spheres. We see here one sphere followed by another, and this is the Fibonacci sequence in relation to the diameter of the spheres. Different geometry, same principle. Now the question is, well, how does that interact with life? Well, that's ultimately because life, in my opinion, life begets life using principles that are unseen, and geometry and mathematics are one of those principles. The other thing that's easy to understand when it comes to why pyramids work, in short, has to do with cosmic bodies, particularly our sun, emitting magnetism and frequencies. Now, our sun emits solar wind from time to time, which is composed of cosmic rays. It's composed of high frequency, high intensity particles, as well as magnetic fluctuations. And these forces have been occurring through cyclical patterns on the Earth. And for whatever reason related to the geometry, which I will go into in future presentations to speak on that, but there's a relationship that this geometry has to take in those principles and amplify them and harmonize them for the benefit of life. So you'll have to trust me on that. Later on, I'll give you resources of validation. So how do you apply it? Well, the first thing I want to say is that pyramid power is something that can be dangerous. It's not a recommended technique that beginners should use. And if they do, they should do it with caution. That is because when the principles of what makes it work are not aligned properly, there are hazardous effects. In a worst case scenario, you're going to have harm done to yourself or to your plants. In a medium case scenario, you're not going to have any results at all. But if you follow the principles, which I'll speak on in a moment, if you follow the principles properly, you'll have positive results. Here we have the Cheops pyramid. This is the Giza pyramid design over a raised bed. The angles of the pyramids, they emit more energy. And in the context of plants, you can see the plants at the bases will grow to larger yields than plants away from the pyramid itself. Energy is also being emitted from the top, and that changes depending on the slope angle. So how are they used? Here we've got plants, salads being pre-charged. This is the term that's used, charging under a pyramid. Well, how do you charge? Well, 1/3 the height up. You got the plants here. They're going to be getting the emissions from the sun and other forces. And you can also charge rocks, things that are considered non-living. However, that's debatable. But these rocks here, paramagnetic, igneous rock, these are volcanic-based rocks, as well as quartz and quartz-based sand can be used in charging and then broadcasted on a large area for spreading the results at scale. Here, this is an example of a small case scenario of a small pyramid in the ElectroCulture community that had demonstrated higher growth and faster germination. It's not the best example of this photo. There's about 8 seeds here and 4 and 3 in the other. So there is a bit of a poor sample group. but it gets the point across because I've seen similar results as has Andrea, and many students as well have seen similar results, which is faster germination of seeds when used appropriately and less disease and higher yields. It doesn't just work on plants. It works on us as well, like the pyramid that Andrea had on the top of his head, which was actually in the right context is going to increase the alpha brainwave frequency, which is in connection with the Schumann wave, which is the resonance of the earth. That frequency is perfect for concentration, which is why he's able to deliver such good presentations. Andrea, you're gone. But this one here is stimulating microbial life. So it's increasing the conductivity of water, which is fascinating. So you can charge water as well. It's increasing the conductivity of the substrate that the microbes are replicating in. And under those circumstances, they're going to replicate faster and in larger volume. Interestingly enough, this particular person here who used it with fermentation, as well as yeast for beer brewing, he had expressed that in Canada, in the winter where the temperatures are cool and microbes become arrested, meaning they're not doing a lot. They don't like to do a lot when it's cold. Yet, this allowed him to continue his production even under non-optimal conditions. This is my Galaxy Garden project, which I mentioned briefly at the beginning, 120 to 150 different edible plant species. Now, what I use, and one of the techniques that I recommend here that is at a broader scale, and this can be used for farmers, it can also be used for large horticulturalists, etc. In this case, this is a large garden, an area of about 150 square meters. I pre-charged paramagnetic rock dust, and I pre-charged basalt-based stones, which I had available to me, and I broadcasted it in a strategic way, and it gave extremely good results, like that 1 meter 50 centimeter long zucchini, and massive, this leaf here on this sunflower is it's big. It's bigger than it's almost as big as my diaphragm. Enormous. So I'm going to jump past this one because we do have a lot more slides. I spoke a bit about this connection to Cheops. This is just to very briefly speak to, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the relationship to the golden ratio, and it's found within the Great Pyramids of Giza, and why it's important when designing your own pyramids or buying a pyramid for the purpose of ElectroCulture. You want to make sure that it's the right dimensions. And this here, this base here, if you multiply it by the golden ratio, which is 1.618, you get the angle, you get the length here from this angle. Okay, this is showing you the Fibonacci sequence in motion. It also has contained within it, and it's the only structure that has both of these. It has spherical geometry. It's circling the square, which is utilizing phi, or pi rather, pi. And this here, 230 meters, which is the length of the Great Pyramid times 4, and the height times 2, which would extend it as two pyramids on top of each other, like one below, one on top. This gives you spherical geometry. The ancient Egyptians understood this stuff very, very well. Now, what I want to leave you with is a technique that you can apply right away if you have a pyramid. If you want to build a pyramid, we'll have other resources in the future on the dimensions. This here is an app on your phone. It's called Space Weather Live, which gives you the KP index, which is a measurement from 1 to 10 of solar storm activity. And the higher the ranking, the higher the potency of magnetism and particles that are coming to the Earth. If you use that app, you can be indicated at the best times to charge your seeds. The higher the potency, the less time you need to charge. And one of the other mechanisms that you need to consider that's very important, besides the geometry, besides the timing, is the placement. This experiment here was done with true north, like the pyramids of Giza. However, you can do it with magnetic north, where you take a compass. Ideally, you use your phone, because you can use a compass on your phone, and it's a straight edge. You line the length of your phone up with this edge here, and you pivot in alignment with your compass's north direction. So you have one face north, one face south, and that is going to maximize the efficacy of your charging. Now, I do want to say, as I said at the beginning, there are hazards associated with charging under pyramids. If you don't get the right dimensions, if you don't get the right angle and orientation, and if you use it with a high KP index for too long, it can be damaging to life. So as old alchemists would say, the medicine and the poison is in the dose. So you got to get that right, which we do go in further workshops where we outline in greater detail procedures that make sure that you are going to be doing these techniques safely. If you do want to experiment without further study, make sure you do it on plants and not on animals, and ideally not over your bed, as some people tend to do. So questions, let's go for some questions. We got a couple minutes here. And Andrea, do you have any questions on the chat?
Yeah, there is a question from Nura, because we mentioned some research, we mentioned some experience. Maybe we can do a follow-up email with a couple of links, or maybe we can share some free documents. There are scientific research made even during the university thesis. We can share this one, for instance. It's nice because they tested 1,800 beans with different pyramids, wooden pyramids and copper pyramids, and control, of course, nothing. And the big difference was incredible, from 30 to 100% increase in growth germination rate with the pyramid charge.
May I comment on that as well, Andrea?
Absolutely, sure.
And one of the concerns that a lot of people have with pyramid charging is they say that it's pseudoscience, that it's not validated. And anybody that says that, they're not looking at the research, because there's modern research even done in Korea and Japan that are as recent as 2022. And researchers that are undergoing studies with pyramid power have done it with different test experiments. They've done it in different circumstances. You know, I've seen studies, I've seen compost designs using the structure of the pyramid, where the microbial life inside the compost is changing based on the geometry of the composter, meaning that there are a higher replication of non-pathogenic microbes, aerobic-based microbes, which is amazing for people who want to compost and utilize aerobic-based microbes for soil fertility. You know, and that's one example, and we'll send those resources out. So,
absolutely.
Let's move on. I think, unless there's a big question there, Andrea.
And in any case, if we say, like in Italy, if you are like San Tommaso, you have to try yourself. You take a pyramid, you make a pyramid, you buy a pyramid, and you test multiple times different seeds. Be careful, because genetic modified seeds are responding less, but more the seed is natural, more the response will be faster and astonishing, because they keep their memories and they react immediately to any magnetic, let's say, stimulation. So
which goes down to the whole premise that form, that function follows form, you know, and that DNA has a very specific certain combinations that obviously also have a geometry built within that.
That is in resonance.
That allows the antenna to function.
Exactly. And if you modify the geometry, they will not respond. So it's important to make experiment with different seeds to understand that lives, it's
Yeah,
different.
because life itself has evolved to align with the cosmos and forces that are unseen.
Exactly. The same when we heat the food. If it is an industrial food, even if we do crystallization, we see big holes and no geometry. If we do the crystallization with organic food, ElectroCulture food, it's natural, it's complete, it's a sense geometry that you can recognize trees, shapes.
Yeah, the fractals remain. It's
perfect.
it's so fascinating. Wish we
So
had more time.
it's an incredible world. There is another question
Okay.
about an experiment with different crystals. I don't know if the question is from Nura. Is that for pyramid or only crystals and plants, etc.? You can try to give an answer. I can give mine. Up to you, Ray.
Well, I would say that there are some crystals that have been built using the dimensions of the Pyramid of Giza, and they do seem to have a positive effect as a harmonizer in space and the home. That there's direct effect just by its proximity to living things. They seem to have more vitality, and that's seen in plant growth. That's a crystal.
Yeah.
If you're putting a crystal inside a pyramid, you can see, the thing about crystals is there's a relationship to consciousness that intersects these points. Pyramids, crystals, they all intersect with human consciousness, and there is a science behind this that's beyond what we can discuss here.
The question is exactly if you can charge a crystal in the pyramid, and even my answer is yes. For instance, these are all stones that they contain a lot of crystal inside. There is quartz, there is basalt, there is dolomite, there is shungite, and we charge it. We charge it inside with light, with sound, with structured water, and we did some analysis in the black camera in the dark room, and we have seen that every crystal is absorbing the light and emitting the light even in the dark room, and they have a different sound. So it's an interesting word, and that's why we use all the material charged like you shown in the picture in the presentation, and this light will go down in the soil, and this help a lot the stimulation of the life in the soil.
Transmitting information ultimately in various forms.
Exactly. So thank you, Ray. Great.
Thank you.
We can move to Francesco. It's water time.
The water wizard. Let me mute myself here, Francesco. Welcome.
Again, hello everyone again. Yes, the topic is so big that in this presentation we're going to go to present from the very basic ways of charging the water to the let's call it the next level. And basically in the course we're going to have we are going to talk about 10 different ways of charging the water, which is the simple is starting from magnets, going through it can be done through spirals, and up to what is my specialty. As you can see from this slide, I create these magnificent water of light fountains, where actually you can see all the subject that we've been talked so far. You can see from the top the Aegina spirals to the sacred geometry, to the light and the use of crystals as well. And basically, when we use this fountain, this is just a very brief introduction on the highest level what we can actually achieve, and then I will give some sample of what actually you can start to do straight away and try at home in a very, very simple ways to work with water, which I consider like same as crystals, is a living being, is an absolutely magnificent being. and which brings life. In this slide, you can see how the fountains they are used to make cuttings, and we can see that on this picture in the middle, for example, we use in a blue light, which is actually when you're talking about cuttings, if you think about a normal cutting, it would achieve about a couple of centimeters of in the length of the roots. When we start to use the water of light fountain with the blue light, we actually go straight away almost to 6 centimeters in the same amount of time. And here you can notice the temperature. We are talking again on about 6 degrees, which is normally it doesn't really happen at those temperatures. And if you can move on the next slide, we can see again we are using different colors. As Andrea mentioned before, plants are exactly the same than us in some certain way. They have preferences. So depending from what you use, which plants are you dealing with, you have to try and experiment different ways. And one of these ways is giving a different light. In the picture in the middle and on the top of the slide, you can see actually we've been using a full spectrum of the light, which we call it as a rainbow. And basically, when you have with the blue light, you reach almost 6 centimeters of rooting of the roots. When we start to use the full spectrum, you actually can achieve in the same time length of the roots about 15 centimeters, which is absolutely amazing. Again, you can see on the left hand side, this is the fountain I actually use for my house, and is actually for human use. And but I also do the water to my chickens, which they actually make two eggs a day, which is absolutely unbelievable. The combination of the crystals is very good, because as most of you, I'm sure they know, crystals have different properties. They react with different chakras, or they have different particularity on the energy and management. So yeah, basically these are what we can do. Now, if you can please move on the next slide. I'm gonna give you some tips about on very basic ways of charging the water, which is through the use of magnets. And in this case, you can see not only charging the water by actually positioning magnets under the vases, you can actually have different results. So if you can move on the next slide, please. Here we have a quick example of corn plants that they been given magnetized water, and we can see that they mature much faster. They have much longer shoots, and they actually when the corn actually dries, you have still the weight is greater than other corns that they've been fed with normal water. If you can move on the next slide, please. Here again, we see a sample of plants and grass, which has been treated and fed with magnetized water, and you can see the difference. And here you can see some device which actually you can buy, and basically you just connect a pipe in, and the water goes through, and this is very quick and easy way to magnetize water. You can see the difference in the results as using normal tap water and using magnetized water. You see in the same time, in the same amount of time, once have already the fruit is ready to be eaten, when the other one is really far away from that stage. Again, in the bottom, you can see on the vases, you have on the left hand side plants that have been using just normal water, tap water, which actually tap water is extremely bad, because if you think as we are charging with let's call it good energies, the actual tap water is treated in a disgraceful way. When he reaches our houses, he has gone through hell, and literally, because he get put inside pipe underground, and the water, it comes out from the pipe, from the tap. If you think about it, in front of your house, it ran possibly for a few meters next to the sewage pipe. So you can imagine the energy which is in the sewage. But this one, you get in contact very close, being very close to the water mains. The water in the pipe that then it comes to our tap is extremely contaminated energetically. In fact, one of the basic things to do, it's when you you want to treat water, is a very important things to cleanse it. And there are different techniques. One of the most common and easiest is the use of radionic circuits, where you actually just put the water on the circuit and you just leave them there for an hour or so. And so you actually get a clean, energetically clean water, because this is very important, because always when we talk about water, we always think about we want a reverse osmosis filter, or you hear many different ways of boiling the water, but we always think about physically and chemically to clean the water, but it actually is not like this. It's extremely important that they have actually the same importance that we clean it. We cleanse it also energetically. I think now you can move on the next slide, please. Here you can see a very simple way of magnetizing water. You get magnets, and you literally attach to the water pipe. And now the next few slides, they will show more or less the same principle. Here you can see you just attaching magnets to the taps. Or this is actually the one on the right hand side is a very cool device, which is it is used mainly in schools to show to children how vortex they work. But doing so, basically, when you on water, when you make it spinning in the left hand side, you literally disprogram water, and on a left hand side vortex. Whether you put it on the right hand side vortex, the water is tend to let you program it. So in this case, you put 4 magnets on this small piece of pipe, and you have basically you attach one bottle on the top and one bottle at the water bottom, just normal water bottle. The one at the bottom is empty, so you start to circulate on the left hand side, so the vortex you start on the left hand side. And when you get actually to the center, you start to create and start to move in the bottom bottle. You start to create the vortex is going to be on the right hand side, and exactly in that point where you put the magnet, you have the charging of the magnetization of the water. I think you can move the slide. And yeah, basically this is all, and is a massive topic, the talking about water. So it's really big wave of information, and so we're gonna talk about much deeper during the course, because if I start to talk about everything is I think 5-6 hours, there will not be enough. So is there any question, Andrea? We can maybe to give some answers.
Yes, I think you deserve a glass of water, charged water. So
yeah, there is.
In the meantime, you shown some picture of the plant surge. I believe, Ray, you have some promo code, or you can help if people want to try.
Sorry, can I just add one quick thing briefly?
Yeah, you do it.
Yep. In water, it is like in every other subject we have been talking tonight. There is this energetic side. Let's call it kind of esoteric, because we cooperate and we use dowsing and radionics, which are extremely essential. And if any one of you has got some knowledge already in dowsing, there is a way to measure the life energy which is in the water itself. So, and this one can be done through a pendulum. And this is a very simple and cheap and economical way to do. Otherwise, if you want to get a little bit more professional, you got a lot of money to spend. We can actually find like real testers. So we're talking really proper scientific side. So it's just not as was explained before. There are a lot of people that they say, and not say, I would call it proper disinformation, misleading of the subject. So yeah, this is I wanted to add that's it.
You're right, Francesco. You're right. And again, we can make all the measurements, but we want to see the effect on the material world. Is that,
of course,
is that good for the plant? Is the plant growing faster? Is the taste different? They are stronger. So is that very important? But people can make their own test. They can see, and they can easily test with magnet or with the plant surge that rate.
Numbers are important, but not so important, because at the end of the day, what is really important is the results that you achieve doing testing things.
Absolutely.
Numbers, yes, we have a meter, we have
we
this
are
meter.
result oriented only.
We can use a pen.
Sorry. Can I add something?
Yeah, go on.
So Andrea, you mentioned the plant surge magnetized water. It's clip-on, ready to go, with I think it's a 365-day return guarantee, actually. But for those of you who want to DIY it, that's possible too, which the principle is relatively straightforward. You just have to make sure that you've got polarized magnets and you have them strong enough, and you use strong enough magnets based on your flow rate of water. But if you're running a commercial business, a farm, etc., it's a lot easier just to buy something that is ready to go.
All right, good. There is I think is a question from Philippa Lang. If the lime scale is still forming, will the magnet be strong enough to improve the water life for plants? Okay, there is a question.
Okay, this is something very to be taken very much in consideration in UK, where I live, as our water supplies is really strong water. So what I suggest when you start to use, like for example, water of light fountains, they could be damaged by the lime scale. What I tend to do, and I recommend to everyone that gets my creation, is always to use reverse osmosis systems. So basically, you remove completely the damaging physical part, because otherwise, even you can have the most sophisticated and beautiful and best working device, they will always get damaged, because the lime scale is a terrible enemy of those devices.
Which are literally living organisms, also calcium forming organisms that are like barnacles as well. So
yeah, good. There another question from Justin. What are your thoughts on creation of structured water? Structured water.
You wanna do this topic,
Francesco,
Andrea?
you're the water wizard here.
No, I can answer. Of course, I believe the structured water, it's very important. That's why we charge the water, we change the structure, and we can do it in multiple ways. So especially when you have you collect, for instance, water from rain. I have tanks in my property. I collect water from rains. I cannot use it immediately. I want to charge the water, to change it, and even to remove the acid part that is falling down with the rain, because there are a lot of metals inside. So I'm a fan of structured water. I love Schoberger, of course. There's another question from Julia. How is the water flow through the magnets? North, south, or south-north? We go in technical question, guys.
Okay. Again, we can achieve different results with different methods, because again, is individual situation can give us different results. So you can either have the water, the magnets put on the north and south, or you can actually also have on the same side. So when you can see, you need to put the magnets. They will not, let's say, that they will not stick together. You kind of to force them with some brackets or something to keep together. It just depends mainly from what you are using to the water for, and which plants, which animals. As this is the main things. One important thing to the water is, for example, when I do the water of light fountains, is you have to be careful to magnets. It is actually something you don't want to really use in fountains, as the strong electromagnetic fields it can give a bad influence to the etheric energies. And for example, motors inside the fountain, they need to be very well isolated, far away from the water. You can't have a transformer nearby, because then you would change actually the what you wanted, the results of what you want to achieve.
It's a super topic. There are a lot of comments.
It's massive. It's massive, and if you think about
crystal, magnetized
crystals is something I really like in my fountains. When I do for people that not really sure what they want, my basic the setup I always suggest is to go with the white quartz and with sorry, lapsus. The white quartz is basically the basic energy of life, and then you can add the name now it doesn't come. Forgive me, guys.
It'll come
in Italian.
Non mi ricordo, quello rosa.
È un quarzo rosa.
Rose quartz?
Amethyst.
No.
Amethyst.
Yeah, amethyst. Grant. Thank you, Andrea. The amethyst. I don't know. Sorry, forgive me. I'm a bit nervous. It's my first presentation. So, the amethyst is very good for, extremely good for opening the mind. So it's the results are incredible. I managed to convert all my family in this kind of world of energy, just simply feeding them with this water charged with amethyst. And so this is crystals is really amazing. If you have a imbalance in your chakras, if you have I mean, like same than crystal therapy, you get done. So you literally put the energy of those again beings, because the crystals are fully alive beings. This is how I consider it. And actually it's not only me, is yeah, basically that's all yes.
Okay, good. So the water, as you know, it seems so basic, so simple, but it's so complicated. And there are a lot of comments. People would like to know our website, our information. I think we do a follow-up email with documents, links.
Yeah, we'll send out some awesome resources. Also, for those who had donated, they'll get a slide deck of the presentation, and we'll have another way that people can access that as well, with more details of what's being discussed.
Absolutely.
But in summary,
just the beginning. I mean, we are talking about simple things. There are more or less 40, even 50 techniques we can combine. But if you do well, you have really super results. Only with one device. One device of this can make a big difference.
Well, it's a bit sad that David's not able to be with us. If everyone can just take a moment to send a prayer out. He has a loved one who is in intensive care, and yeah, he's been working very hard to be part of this presentation, and he's put a lot of energy in. So it's our first role, and it's sad that he's not here. But we
send an intention for a safe journey and best days. Thanks to ElectroCulture to energize everything. So thank you all together. Thank you to have organized the meeting, and we want to recap a little bit. What do you think, Ray?
I think very briefly, we just say, you know, what were some of the takeaways that you guys can apply in your own homes and start experimenting with?
Yeah.
One of the things with the antennas, Andrea, can you pull up one of the molds perhaps?
Yeah, that's it.
So
With the mold, we easily follow the path and we create the spiral antenna. It's an antenna. It's collecting the energy. You can attach a cable, or you can touch the ground, or you can go near to the plants inside the water, on top of a bottle of water. There are really a lot of application, but it's an easy stuff, very easy. There are different size for small pot, medium pot, big pot, and colors. Remember, colors, metals, kind of metals.
aluminum coated wire is very good for that, for the
All
color.
right. Yeah.
The Lakowski coil, I think good takeaway, Andrea, is
Yeah.
to start for people is to just do the simple loop.
Very simple. Start simple, but consider always again colors. My favorite are the top of the scale, so like red, violet, or blue and purple. What is in the middle usually is not so effective, like green and white and yellow, because this color are quite available in nature. You see the trees, the grass. We need to stimulate with different colors like sun or dark, etc. And stay on north, crossing on north, put the plants in the middle, and control day by day. If the leaves are going down, is not a good sign. Maybe you can remove it. If the plant is growing like crazy, sometimes you can have even more than 100 strawberry per season, only one plant. All right, then
Wow.
we have the Egyptian, we have the gold pyramid, the copper pyramid from Cheops, okay? Every face one direction of the compass, very easy. So south, north, east, west. Charging side, you can charge seeds, you can charge water, you can charge treatment, or even we charge back flowers, homeopathic stuff, whatever is inside is charged. You can charge food, pasta. Then we have Golod, more higher.
Energy moving upwards, yeah.
Exactly, in Russian. And then we have in Nubia, we have the Nubian pyramid with the phi ratio, and they are working very well. They have the top of the energy in 1/3, and you can do a lot of experiments. You can find the shape that is more in relation with you, with the plants, and that would be a nice discovery as well.
And Andrea, you've got so I just want to mention as well, you've got kits, gear for sale.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to make their own pyramid on their own, you can do so. It's going to involve a bit of trigonometry, but
it's easy.
But it's not that hard, really. And if you look at some commercial products that are available, you can also reverse engineer. But if you want something that you know is going to work, Andrea's got a lot of options available as well.
Yeah, I've
and for those ones here in England, they can get in touch with me directly. So I will organize things.
Sure. So the kit, very easy. They have already the shape, they have the angles. So there are different options, the top range or the low range. Finally, water. Okay, so water is an incredible topic, but we are water, plants are water. So it's very important to drink the right water, and even for the plants is the same story. So if you work on seeds, water, plants, environment, and all these topics, soil that we mentioned, you can have great result immediately.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that's what we hope to achieve with this masterclass. Was we wanted to make sure that we leave all of you with some easy to apply techniques from your home, from your backyards, your farms, wherever, that you can begin experimenting with. You can see results, get excited, and hopefully you feel excited to also learn more and study with us, because we do have a fundamental series on ElectroCulture that we will be doing in a few weeks, couple weeks. And this masterclass is, you know, for those of you who don't want to move on to more techniques and understand more of the details to the mechanisms and the how to apply, etc. You know, you can tinker, and that's well encouraged. But you know, with tinkering, you do have to make errors. You do have to do things like this strange spiral antenna, these antennas that actually have no efficacy. Sometimes it's easier to learn from someone like Andrea, for example, who has over 10,000 acres of land that he's been involved to transform with these techniques. So, and another thing that I really want to mention as well is that there's a whole unseen world that we're just starting to tap into. Like it's super exciting, really, because the truth is this rabbit hole of electroculture, biogeometry, geobiology, et cetera, dowsing, radionics, all these approaches, they open up an entire new universe of possibilities. And for me, the greatest thing about all of this isn't actually the experimentation with plants. It's not seeing higher yields. It's not seeing better nutrient density in your food. That's great. But for me, the biggest thing is it awakens something. It brings out a sense of curiosity, a sense of wonder, a sense of humility, you know, and the further along you go in these discoveries, the more, at least speak for myself, the more I realize how much I don't know and how much there is going on that is unseen. So
yeah, this is incredible, because ElectroCulture gives you, I consider ElectroCulture as a bridge between the visible and the non-visible. So it really opens up your eyes, mainly your mind, to this unseen world, which is the world of the energies, literally.
Yeah, and we stimulate our intuition. We take consciousness of our power, and we learn all together. We really open a lot of mind through experiments, through experience, and through natural connection. That's very important, because at the end, when we connect again with nature, we have more ideas. We understand the sense of a certain situation in life, and there are a lot of invisible things that we can see. That's why I love Alana. I love this part, but
Yes.
you need to be ready. We can play different level, and we can have fun in any case.
yeah, which this is why we did create the ElectroCulture Fundamental Series, which is, it's moving from the masterclass that we've done today. It's moving into a 4-part series where we deliver an expanded version of what we've done here. We go into more practical examples, case studies, demonstrations. There's a whole bunch of resources. Andrea, you've got a whole bunch of ebooks available. We've got documents, a whole lifetime of study if you want to make it out of a 4-part series. But
I did the summary. I did
also a synthesis. Hence
yes.
hence
The practical advice.
And you know, one of the things that is a big challenge, and then David earlier, he mentioned our ElectroCulture community with over 150,000 people, is that there is a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of novelty. There's a lot of tinkering, but it's a lot better to learn accelerated techniques from people who have direct experience. And that's what we hope to deliver with our 4-part series that we're going to be doing. We're breaking it down, so I'm just going to be quick because we do want time to go into the question and answers. So I'm not going to hold on this for too long. We did record a 10-minute YouTube video that we will send out in an email with some of the resources that we promised. We'll send that out if you want to learn more. But very quickly, superficial, we go into the foundations of electroculture. We're looking at some of the techniques of magnetoculture. We're looking at the mechanisms, how it works. It's giving you enough knowledge that you've got your bullshit detectors on. You can join the community, you can look at people's posts, you can do your own research, and you've got a foundation that you can work from, which is the basis of the fundamental series. And then we move into more of the esoteric side of things. This is going into pyramid power in more detail. I'm going to be sharing with you actually blueprints on how you can make pyramids yourself if you don't want to buy it. You'll have access to a series of information on charging protocol for seeds, to basalt powder, to crystals, etc. You'll have a foundation to utilize pyramid power, but we also go into round towers, menhirs. These are the round towers of Ireland, menhirs, or power towers, as they're called, harmonizers, three-dimensional geometry, as well as harmonization tools. And we begin to scratch the surface of geobiology and dowsing and tapping in yourself to the whole energetic world that we've been discussing intuitively. And Francesco, he's going to go into this part here. You're going to tap into greater depth. You said there's over 10 different techniques with water.
Yes, yes, there are basically from spirals to magnets to making the water doing certain patterns, as you can see in this slide. This is like something on the floor dug on the rocks, and that one is an harmonizer, water harmonizer, and this is thousands years old, and so the knowledge is all out there. It's just start to believe it, and first of all found it. And once you find it, you need to understand, because basically what's happening with the use of those energies is we have to understand very clearly that we contribute, we are amazing beings, but we are just not aware of it. And our potential is incredible. And in the same way we can do amazingly good things, we can do very bad things in the sense that when you start to not be confident, don't believe too much. For example, with radionics, when we talk about radionics, which is obviously is a subject that is not for this level, but when you interact and you create waves you create energies, and out of our mind, out of our being. And when you actually can give good influence to things, at the same time you can give a bad influence to things. So, for example, even if we talk about ElectroCulture, why is not really good to have? We don't want to work like with massive farming, with people that they use a lot of chemicals. It's not only because the soil itself is basically ruined, but because the energy of the owner of the land is really concentrated on different topics, which is just making the money. And so basically you maybe also even unconsciously, but you concentrate your energy in something you don't believe in too. And this one, it prevents the real energies to work, because without
you're
power,
absolutely right.
We can stop, we can prevent things working. And it's unbelievable. So that
ultimately we're sabotaging ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Unconsciously, but we influence the environment around us. I would say very easily around 70% of what's going on an energetic level. And if you have awareness and you highlight those energies, you can achieve amazing results. But on the other side, if you start, oh no, this is not true, no, this can be. Doing so, you create wrong thoughts, and those wrong thoughts they just stop and they just prevent things from working, and we sabotage ourselves. So it's
well said, Francesco.
I agree.
thank you.
Majority of the results depending on us, but at the moment we need some small technology to increase the connection and to take
Yes,
this is
absolutely.
a transition, let's say. We
Yes.
need a pyramid, an antenna to play.
I actually call the tools like the pyramids and the round towers, etc., the harmonizers, I call them consciousness augmentation tools, or CATs. Meow.
Meow.
Because
because
there's a lot to it beyond the principles that we've discussed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And this goes in, Andrea, you want to speak briefly on the last part of the 4-part series as well?
Absolutely. So at the end, we touch the history of Justin Etienne Christophe Law, that is called the father of ElectroCulture, because he did 16 patents. And I wrote this book about his history. I found all the patents. I made it with modern technology. And I made the experiment to prove that it was true, that we can achieve the result that you've seen. Big spinach 100 years ago. Now we do the same. Mint, we do the same. Cereals.
Well, it looks like you actually did a bigger spinach leaf than he did.
Than Christophe Law itself.
I guess the power of the human mind and innovation itself, huh?
Yeah, because we combine more technique than him, and as I said, the life in the soil, it's very important. It's one of the first elements. That's why for farmers, I start with a soil analysis and water analysis. Only through that I can make the transition. And now we have more than 450 farmers and thousands of private gardens, bioenergetic gardens, or people that are using electroculture in their garden or horticulture or little paradise, because our garden at the end are little paradise.
We're literally living in a parallel universe, it seems.
Yeah.
Can you imagine can you imagine the result we would have achieved 100 years ago without where the use of chemical it was not known yet? So all the soils, it was clean and like proper alive.
Now we are here to make the change.
Yeah,
we have to regenerate, we have to restore, we have to, we also have to prepare for the new forms of contamination of electromagnetic smog and other phenomena that are on the rise. So
and so when I do projects, I like to work again with permaculture, because I like the design, and I like to work a lot with biodiversity. It's not only electroculture. That's why we call vibrational agriculture, energetic agriculture. We call there is more than electricity. There is more and more.
It seems like electroculture has become a buzzword, but there's a whole other universe that isn't even being discussed within the communities online. So
to summarize, we want to go deeper, because there are a lot of details to understand. We want to interact. This will be live session, and we want to share contents and the technique, and we can manage a group till 90 people with this technology, Zoom. It would be very nice to start in a couple of weeks. We want to start in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, because we start as of the November 18th is the first presentation. It's on a Saturday, and that is from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. Rome time, which I believe is about 2 p.m. Eastern time. So it's with the time zone change, it's going to be much the same as what we've done this evening. And we do have a early bird registration. I'm not going to tell you all that you have to register right away, because to be honest, I'm not going to send out the link for the registration for another 24 hours at least. When I send out some resources, I'll probably do that on Monday.
Tomorrow is Sunday. Tomorrow is Sunday. Get a
Tomorrow's
break.
Sunday. I know. I want to take a break. There's been a lot that's gone
Yeah.
into getting this
Yeah.
this happening. And it's important also to say the price. So we're doing an early bird registration at 99 euros, plus additional fees from PayPal. So it's negligible, but 99, so 100. And that is going for the first, is it a week, Andrea? It's till the 11th. The
Yes.
11th. So we've got that
Yeah,
rate for 1
it's-
week.
Yeah, it will be the early bird deadline. And then, of course, if we reach the 90 people, we close the gate, because there is no more room in the Zoom. Maybe
Yeah.
people can
And
see
the-
the recording. They can.
And the price will increase by 20% as well. So we'll go up to 120 afterwards. I do want to say, those of you who made donations, I do want to thank you. We've got your names here. We appreciate that, because a lot of work did go into making the slide deck here. I think I put in probably a solid couple weeks of research and graphic design elements. So I'm going to convert this presentation into an ebook. I call it the slide deck, and I'm going to add in, it should come out, there's almost 100 slides. So likely it could come out to being quite a big document with a lot of material. So that unto itself will become available for people who made donations. And I'll also leave that open for anybody who registers within 72 hours of the email link that I send out on Monday.
There is a question. We record because the time zone is different, and you can access the record and the documents every time. So you have you have your time to learn and to see again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, these courses will be available afterwards, even if you didn't have the chance to subscribe at the moment. It will be remaining as a recording class, so that it will be available, I believe, in Andrea's website.
But obviously joining us, you'll get live Q&As,
Yes.
momentum, and there'll also be more resources that come out as well. We do want to incentivize people, because it's the live presentations that actually make it exciting, because interacting with people, we could just go completely digital like a lot of people do, but that's not what we're interested in doing. So
Yeah. So thank you, really
thank you all. Appreciate it.
For the interaction. Thank you, Francesco, Ray. Thank you to Dave again. It was a pleasure, and see you soon.
Well, wait a sec. We still got the Q&A. I know we came up to the 2 hours, but anybody who's still here till this point, if anybody wants to stay on, I mean, maybe Andrea, you want to go have dinner at this point. I don't know, but I'm open for a few questions.
Yeah, sure. No, I can answer. Me too. And so let's
Hey,
see. Especially
we will give
James,
priority to
Sonia,
the
Gary.
people here on the list to unmute your mics if you want to pose a question with us.
You can even open the camera now. It's okay. There are no questions. People are shy.
That's pretty normal, is it not?
They want to go party. It's Friday night. No, it's Saturday.
Saturday night. The party last night.
It's what is it, Saturday morning or Sunday morning for the Aussies, hey?
Yes, please. Let's make a question. Ray, did you enjoy this night?
Well, to be honest, I did. I enjoyed this part of it. There was a lot of stress behind the scenes because it is a very stressful day, actually, I must say. This is the first time I've done a live event like this. And there were a few technical hiccups, and then of course David's emergency last minute. I woke up this morning. He was supposed to MC the whole thing, so that was a bit of a surprise, but I think it came out well. I hope you all liked it. Took some things
Yeah,
away.
there are great feedback. They are nice. What about you, Francesco? The
Yeah,
water wizard. You
the
enjoy?
water, the water wizard had really a lot of fun. It's the first time for me as well, having a live session, and I was actually a little bit nervous this afternoon, but then having a chat with you guys, as soon as we start, I don't know, I completely switch in a relaxed mode, and yes, it was even the preparation of the what we've been doing all the evening. It was it's part of the amazing the amazing journey. I never thought when I started with you, Andrea, and I started to do my things to find myself one day been here teaching and try to involve as many people as possible, as because it is really an adventure. It's unbelievable. It's this energy world is really endless. You can get specialized in so many different subjects, and even if you don't want to go too deep in some of them, you can still find enthusiasm in trying and sharing and involving more people in this world, because actually the amazing way it works, we are since I met Andrea, I met living in this continuously expanding community. We keep sharing, we text each other every day. You know, I've discovered this, I found this book, this is cool, this is nice, oh, you should try this. And this is really something you get involved in. You can't really, I don't know, at least that's what happened for me. I can't get out of it anymore. I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking, oh, cool, what is gonna happen today? Because in good way, because I always good things happening while you doing these kind of things. And the people you meet on the path is they're really, some of them they're really out of this world. One of them is Alana, and Alana really changed my life, and they give me so much enthusiasm. And when we had this experience with her, I don't know, I felt to be like being back home again, like all my life I've been missing something. And now I'm back into it, and it's really amazing. Is the point of this what we want to do in the next class is really to give the people the opportunity to get into this way of thinking, because exploring, because the subject is infinite. There is it is really limitless. And
and you have
a
big challenge, because I have more than 300 hours in my academy of courses, and
yes,
now we have only 10 hours in English. So you and Ray, you have an infinite potential to share and to explain to the people what we can do.
In fact, next year, one of my commitment for the next year, it will be I will fully dedicate 1 day a week, every single week of the year, in making translations, because the amount of information Andrea is willing to share with us is I don't know. I've been with Andrea for quite a while, and still I don't know. I think I go half of it, not even. So it's really something I really suggest to everyone to get involved with, because the subject and what we are talking about is nothing else but life itself, and it's us, our connection with the world where we live, with the plants, with the animals. And when you start to understand these things, after Alana's courses, for example, that you start to get a little more involved, you learn to communicate to your own pets. You can talk to your pets. It's really unbelievable. You feel them, because you open yourself to these energies that normally we are not used to. We've been brought up and really taught that those things, noise maybe, no, they teach us that do not exist. They show us fairy tale stories from Walt Disney and here and there, and then you get your parents, it's only fairy tales, now it's time you grow up, put these things away. And it's shocking.
I want to return to be a kid. I want to be a kid again.
Yeah. That's the point.
Neverland.
And then
It's
you
shocking.
need to
It's
come.
shocking when you
need to
realize that
come.
you've been lied all your life, and those things actually do really exist.
You need to come in the field more and more, because the things are happening in the field, not in the screen. Okay,
Hey,
guys.
Andrea, can you just tell me, is my mic working? I had
Yeah, it's working, but we
working.
don't see you. We don't see.
Yeah, I used my phone and it just went limp. I think it's run out of battery.
Okay, so really, I need to go. Thank you, everybody. We'll follow up soon. We share the video recorded in a short time, and I hope to see you soon again, to go deeper and deeper, and to have fantastic vegetables, fantastic revolution with this energetic agriculture. Ciao.
Yeah,
Have a
thanks,
good
everyone.
day. Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Mate.
Have a good evening. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye bye.